Bankers, you're not just a number, you're a partner. Contact Heath Meir, Nicole Glover, Hunter Creed, David Campbell, or David Henry to discuss how we can help your business today. United Community Bank, the local way to bank big. Locations from Baton Rouge to Golden Meadow. We've been serving the people of Southern Louisiana for over 60 years. United Community Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Louisiana's big weather can mean big damage to your roof. Our team offers free inspections and guarantees your satisfaction. Call 756-8603 or visit riceandroofing.com.
Just to be on the safe side.
After further review with Matt Moscona, weekday afternoons at 3 on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge. WNXX Jackson, KNXX Donaldsonville, and WDGL HD2 Baton Rouge. This hour brought to you by Spencer Callahan Injury Lawyers, LA 21-12681. Offices in Baton Rouge. Now, the Hunt Palmer Show.
A magic beyond anything you could ever imagine.
You are now listening to the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Locking down the middle of the day.
You really think that's the best idea?
Live from the Raising Cane's studio, this is Hunt Palmer.
It's quite a piece of work.
Welcome in! Hunt Palmer coming to you from the Raising Cane studio downtown in the capital city on this Thursday, working towards the weekend. Brought to you by Sagrera Farms, Premium Angus Beef. Got Jordan Kitchens and Cassie Spazzali back there on the ones and twos. Fired up you were here with us. We got a lot to get to. Luke Johnson from Metry at 1:15. He's been at Saints Camp the last couple of days, talking to the players, watching the action. Jordan Tyson got it on the action today with a touchdown catch. We'll talk to Luke about that in 15 minutes. Is the Big Ten the best conference in the country? Does it matter? I wrote about it at LouisianaSports.net. I'll talk about it in 30 minutes. A little bit of an update on Logan Schmidt, high school left-hander that is choosing between LSU and junior college. We'll do that at the end of hour number one. Got some sound from Tyler Shuck yesterday, sound from Lane Kiffin at Rotary Club that we'll get to in an hour and 15 minutes and right now. So let's crank it up with our opening drive.
It's time for Hunt's Opening Drive, presented by Fabry Chevrolet GMC in St. Francisville.
There are like checkpoints throughout the summer where you feel like you're inching toward where you want to be, which is football season, right? And so for us, it's like, okay, you got the MLB draft. Okay, you got the SC Media Days. Okay, the Saints report. Okay, now it's time for LSU to report. Now there's practice. Then you got scrimmages. And they're just like checkpoints here and there. You can throw the Hard Knocks debut in there. You can throw preseason games in there. But there are checkpoints, right, throughout the calendar. And for coaches, head coaches, at least in Baton Rouge, kind of the last one, the last stop they've got to make is the Rotary Club. And I don't say that meaning they don't want to be there, but it's like the last thing right before camp starts. And that's where Lane Kiffin was yesterday at the Baton Rouge Rotary Club. So we've got the sound from that, and I'm going to play some throughout the course of the 2-hour show. But we'll start here with kind of the construction of the team and Lane Kiffin talking about this specific team, because this is not like any other era that we've ever really been in. Usually when a coach gets fired, a new coach comes in, he's got to get quote-unquote his guys in, and then you instill the culture, and you probably take your lumps in year one, and you hope to turn a corner in year two, and you throw all the expectations in there like in year three. Like that was 15 years ago, right? It's just not the case anymore. And Lane Kiffin knows that, and they went and put together a team that they think can go out there and win, but he does speak to the fact that, hey, it is still pretty young.
Everyone says, well, here's the portal players that come, and everybody thinks they're one-year players. They're not. So a lot of times, portal players that pay off, okay, maybe even backups initially that are younger freshman, sophomore players, all right, then in year two end up being starters as these great players that we have that our seniors leave. It's actually a pretty young team. There's not many seniors on the team as you look at it. So as excited as we are for this year, I just want to talk about that, about the building of the future.
There's no question about this. Like, there are certainly some one-year guys on this team from the portal. Like, look, Ty Benefield's a one-year guy. 1 year. Sam Levitt's very likely a one-year guy. Jordan Seaton's going to play 1 year here. But there are a lot of guys around this roster that are going to be here for a little bit. Like, Dylan Jones can play a couple years here at LSU. Winnie Watkins can play a couple years here at LSU. They brought in some offensive linemen to start right away. And you'll see that. You'll see that with Jordan Seaton, as I mentioned. But, like, Devin Harper is a redshirt freshman. Sean Tompkins has multiple years of eligibility to play. Darren Stray is a young offensive lineman. You've gone in and you've brought in some guys that do have multiple years to play. So there is an element of youth to this team. I wouldn't go as far as to say that it is a young team. Like Seaton's going to move on. Bo Bordelon's going to move on. Braylon Moore's going to move on. Levitt's going to move on. Jace Brown, Trey Wilson probably going to move on. Ty Benefield's going to move on. Prince Will Umanmielon's going to move on. TJ Dottery, Whit Weeks are going to be done. Tamarcus Cooley could potentially be in his last year. He could come back, but like you get the picture. Like it's a team that could be replacing a good bit next year, but not nearly to what they had to do this past year. But his point is taken. There's a lot of youth that is on this team and that was actually brought in the portal when you consider the amount of redshirt freshmen and sophomores that they did bring in. But they had to get it done quickly. This is the part that I just do not envy at all about college coaching, especially on the football side. In basketball, you got to get 8 guys. You can get 8 guys. That's not that difficult. Football, you got to get 50. Like that's a lot. And this team had to get put together quickly, and Lane Kiffin talked about that.
What we were going to do, coming together with our staff and our style and what we bring and coming together at LSU would be to sign elite, great high school players from around the country and then also elite portal players from around the country. We've done that. This was combined number 1 class when they put those together. The point of that is for that to happen already, to put us in a position to win this year with a really talented roster is awesome. But also I want to encourage you, if that can be done in that short a time once we were branded together with LSU, okay, what the future looks like when we have even more time to put together classes to know our own roster too.
I think there's absolutely credence in that. Like this was a fire drill. Now, it was one that was backed by a ton of money, and that helps the fire drill, okay? Having $40 million at your disposal to get it done makes it a lot easier than if you had 14. But it was done very, very quickly, and I think it stands to reason, and this is something that I'm pretty steadfast in throughout the course of this August is what I'll be saying. Like, I'm not putting every Lane Kiffin egg in this basket. I'm not. Like, this is a team that I think can achieve some really good things. They may not. If they don't, if they go 8-4, it doesn't mean Kiffin's a failure. It just means you put together the next team. But this one will have some expectation, and I think that once they get their foundation in place, I think there will be a little bit less turnover year over year, certainly than you had this past year, where you had to build an entire wide receiver core, had to build a significant amount of your defensive front, had to go get a few plug-and-play offensive linemen. You did not have a quarterback on the roster. You had to go handle that. Like there's a lot to do, and they did it in a short amount of time. And he's continuously, and this is of course playing to the rodeo cup a little bit, which is the business people here in Baton Rouge. But he's been steadfast in the fact that Baton Rouge helped with that.
And these were players that in the portal that could go anywhere in the country, went to other great places on visits. One of the common things that was said by the kids, but especially by the parents, on Sunday meetings, they said, wow, it was amazing going around the university, going around the town and feeling so welcome, whether it was at the hotel they stayed at, whether it was at the different restaurants that they went to, and that everybody knew who they were, and everybody was excited about the potential of them coming here, and they felt a really home feeling, even though they're only on their visit for 48 hours. So I knew the history of being able to recruit to LSU and the stadium and the great players that have played here, but then to add that on top of it, really, I understand why over the course of time, as you look at it, it's been one of the most successful places in America, but also where great players have chose to come from not just the Southeast, but from all over the country because they feel that during the weekend.
I can't speak to the community feel and the relevance of the football program in Gainesville. Auburn's a small town, so is Oxford. I don't know how things go in College Station or Austin or Knoxville. I don't know. I know how it goes in Baton Rouge, though, and I believe that. That's not to mean that Baton Rouge is unique to care about its college football team. I don't mean that in any way, but I do know how much Baton Rouge cares about its football team. I do know when we go out like on remotes to wherever we are setting up and doing live broadcasts with the truck, and the amount of people that come up to us that listen every day, that know us by name and that talk about the things that they're interested in and know things in depth about recruiting or about the baseball team or about whatever it is. And I just know that people around here are constantly engaged with LSU. And so it's no surprise that when Lane Kiffin and a 6'5" offensive line recruit walk in the door, people take notice. People say hello. People express their gratitude and talk about how great the town is. That doesn't surprise me at all, and it sounds like Lane Kiffin has found that to be the case in a very short amount of time in recruiting. Now, one of the guys that I wanted to spend the end of this segment talking about is Billy Glasscock, because he's kind of in the shadows. I'll be honest with you. I covered the team. Billy Glasscock walked right through that door right now. I wouldn't know who he was. I know who he is. I don't know what he looks like. I don't know I don't know. But he's important, and Lane Kiffin talked about his importance in putting this all together.
College football has now turned into the NFL in a lot of ways because of the money and because of trying to figure out how you divide the roster as you look at high school and you look at portal, and also what players do you keep. People don't talk much about that. I'll say to you with the cameras, that's the world that we're living. With money now, decisions have to be made, and players basically are cut nowadays. Billy does a great job of managing throughout the building and all the things that come with it, especially contracts with players, and then also all the player issues and building issues that come up through the year. Billy's been very important in our transition in that too.
Billy Glasscock feels like a huge key to this machine. Whenever LSU takes the field against Clemson on that Saturday night in Death Valley, when it's 104 degrees and there's 104,000 people in there, not exactly, but close. When that happens, nobody's going to be thinking about Billy Glasscock. But the fact of the matter is that he's making important decisions. He's doing a lot of the dirty work that no one ever sees. He's integral in the allocation of the money in the meetings that go forward with recruits. He's a big, big deal. And Lane Kiffin continued talking about his general manager.
You used to just have coaches that just coach football. Now we have personnel people that also are throughout the year watching other players, high school and college players, to build basically like a draft board and a free agent board. So if you just try to coach the old school way, you'll get left behind in that. You'll see some programs, maybe they coach really well, but then their roster management and then the players that they choose in the portal, okay, they miss on a lot. A big part, just like if you follow NFL, is the draft and free agency. It's not just the marquee names that you see, okay, in the portal. It's how do you hit on the other parts of the portal, meaning after the first tier. And that's your evaluation system, not just when you watch the film, okay, but who are they? When they come in, most places recruit the kids as they come on their visits. We evaluate the kids as they come on their visits to figure out who they are. Are they going to fit in our systems? Are they going to work? We have to figure them out so that we're bringing the right players in, and he does a great job with his department in that.
It's a whole army of people scouring the country for players that's on college rosters, that's on high school rosters, and then determining whether or not it fits. And he talked about the personality point of it, and that's vital. You have to have the right guys in this era that won't check out when you lose a game or won't pout when they don't start the next game. You have to have the right attitude this day and age, because these kids have a lot of leverage, they've got a lot of money, and they can leave whenever they want. And so you've got to make sure you've got the right work ethic, the right mindset in your building. And oh, by the way, they got to be able to play. And Lane Kiffin talked about building the system that he runs around the players that they are able to get on campus.
I think what we do really well is we get the pieces and then we figure out the system to fit the pieces. Many people just run their offense or defense and they just, okay, this is what we run. What we do is, especially offensively, okay, is we look at the players, we figure out through camp what do they do really well, and then we maneuver the system around that. And over time, as you look at the different stops of where we've been offensively, we look very different sometimes from year to year. We may have a year where we're calling plays at Alabama and Derrick Henry leads the SEC in rushing, and rushing attempts in the country. We may have other years where we throw the ball a ton. That's all based off of the players as we figure them out. So that's exciting to get to that part of it.
And that's true. He's talking about Derrick Henry, but the same is true when they featured Kejuan Lacey late last year. The same is true when they featured Quinshon Judkins in Oxford. And then also they had years where Corral and Jackson Dart threw it all over the place. So he practices what he preaches there. They really do change the offense year over year. Now, what he wants to do starts with the running game. And if they can't run it, then he's cranky, because 2 years ago, Ole Miss couldn't run the ball as well as they wanted to, and they ended up losing 3 games, including Kentucky and Florida, because they couldn't execute the running game the way they wanted to. You saw this past year, they got the running game cooking with Lacey, and then everything fell into place with Chambliss and in the deep passing game and being as potent an offense as they were. So it starts with the running game, but they can do both sides of it, and that's kind of what he prefers to do. So we'll listen to more from Lane Kiffin at the Rotary Club yesterday, but that's kind of a taste of the high points for me in what he was talking about at lunch yesterday as we inch closer within a week now for LSU starting fall camp. That'll crank up Wednesday of next week on the Ponderosa. Thursday show is brought to you by Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. We will come back. We'll talk Saints with Luke Johnson. He's been there the last 2 days. It's next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Boudreaux's Electrical Services. Boudreaux's Electrical Services. Neil and Melissa have been running Boudreaux's Electrical for 40 years. I tell you always to go to Boudreaux's Electrical for your Generac home standby generator. And you should. If you don't have one and you want to give yourself the peace of mind of knowing that hurricane's not going to knock out your power for an extended amount of time, that afternoon thunderstorm that rolls through isn't going to knock you out from power for 3 hours, call Boudreaux's Electrical. But if you've already got a Generac home standby generator and your customer service is not good, you never hear from the installation company, you might have got it from the big box store, you don't hear from them, you don't know who to call if there's an issue. That's okay. Even if you didn't buy your generator from Boudreaux's Electrical, you can contact Boudreaux's Electrical and say, hey, I'd like to get to Boudreaux's Boost. I'd like y'all to monitor my system 24/7 so that if there's an issue, you can come out and fix it. And they're happy to do it. 985-397-1562. That's 985-397-1562. Or the Gonzales location, 225-300-9389. That's Boudreaux's Electrical Services.
Every Raising Cane's chicken finger is marinated, battered by hand, and cooked to order to perfection. We don't have heat lamps, because when you make it right, you can taste it in every bite. Raising Cane's chicken fingers, one love.
Bayou Ford is taking $13,000 off MSRP on the new 2026 Ford F-150 trucks.
Plus the complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
At Parrish, we take pride in building roofs that last. Because in Louisiana, toughness isn't just on the court, it's in your home too.
Parrish Construction and Roofing. ParrishBuilt.com.
At Parrish, we take pride in building roofs that last. Because championships are built on commitment, not just on the floor of the court, but your home too.
Parrish Construction and Roofing. ParrishBuilt.com.
Looking for cleaner energy? Propane is energy for everyone. Propane water heaters are very cost efficient, and the savings are even greater with a tankless propane water heater. We all know that Louisiana propane is a safe and environmentally friendly fuel. So why not go green while you save some green? I'm Miss Louisiana, Gabrielle McLeod, and for more information, visit louisianapropane.com.
My father, J.B. Falgu, had a vision of growth for First American Bank and the communities we serve. The bank's foundation was built on his legacy of compassion, loyalty, and dedication. Through his years of leadership, First American has prospered to heights even J.B. could not have imagined. I know my father would be extremely proud of the customer service and financial stability that First American provides to Southeast Louisiana. We continue to thrive because of the legacy of J.B. Falgu.
Sometimes you ignore the signs, even when they're right in front of you. Problem gambling isn't always easy to spot. Know the signs, set your limit. Learn more about healthy gambling habits by visiting us online or text or call for free, confidential help now.
Supreme Jasmine is premium American grown.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
Day 2 of Saints camp down there in Metairie. First open practice. Saw a nice crowd there assembled in the heat to watch the black and gold take the field. Luke Johnson was there, covers the Saints for the AdvocateNola.com. He's with us on Thursdays. Joins us on the Jim's Firearms Hotline. Luke, how are you?
I'm doing great. Just watching the tweets come in, see if Tariq Skubal is going to be a Brewer. That's what I'm worried about right now. You're here to talk about the Saints. I'm here to talk about the Milwaukee Brewers with you.
I never want to talk about the Milwaukee Brewers ever, under any circumstance, ever. You've put me in a terrible mood
buddy.
to begin this interview.
Keep having me on the show. You're going to keep getting it.
Mm-hmm. Lovely. All right, now at least you can talk about the Saints. That I'm in a terrible mood. Let's talk about the good, because we know the bad from yesterday, and I'll get to that in a second. But obviously, saw a highlight of Jordan Tyson getting into the end zone. They don't have pads on or anything, but what did you see from the young rookie yesterday and today? And it sounds like he and Tyler Shuck hooked up for a score.
Yeah, I think they're still getting their connection down, which makes complete sense. This is day 2 of them doing any sort of competitive drills, right? At least in the practices that we've gotten to see. So there was a touchdown today, but there was also another red zone play. It was just a missed timing where they couldn't hook up, and then there was another one right before the touchdown or right after it. It was like a hot route. There's a blitz coming off the edge, and Tyson snapped off his route inside and Shuck threw outside and ended up being an interception, right? So you see stuff like that happen, but then you see the play he makes, and you see the talent and the potential, and what he really does well. I mean, he moves so well in space. It really is like watching a bigger Chris Olave. I just think they're going to find a way to make that really useful in this offense. He's a really special player when he's on the field, and when he gets the connection down, when they work out all these little bumps and bruises along the way, I think there's a chance for it to be really, really good. He looks like a special player when he's going right.
Any sort of limitations for him through 2 days? I know how slowly they moved him in over the summer.
None I've seen. They've done pretty light practices the first 2 days. Roughly 75 minutes both days. They're just in shorts and shirts. So they've kind of let them go full bore here. They've got an off day coming up on Saturday. So I would almost anticipate we'll see a similar thing tomorrow. And then, as camp ramps up a little bit, they'll maybe kind of back off the accelerator a little bit, let him get his legs underneath him, because he hasn't done a lot of this stuff so far as a pro. But I think generally their goal with these guys, especially with their director of sports science, Ted Rath, is to just be very cautious with injuries, not push guys too hard. So, I do think that at some point here, we're going to see him get some time away. But I think this is really important for him now, especially while Chris Olave is sitting out these, 7-on-7s and full team stuff. I imagine whenever they go to 1-on-1s, we're not going to see him in that until he gets a contract resolution. I think it's important to, have Tyson in there soaking all that up. So by the time Olave is ready to get back in the mix, they're both going full speed.
Obviously, Brian Brzee, the news of the day yesterday, just a devastating injury for him and will cost him the season. In the short term, what does that mean for the Saints on the defensive front?
Well, right now it means Vernon Broughton is kind of stepping into that starting role. And, I'm not sure every Saints fan is familiar with him because he only played 1 game in his rookie season before his season ended with a hip injury. He was a 3rd-round pick last year. They were very high on him. But, now is really the time when he's got to go in and prove he can do it. So they liked what they saw in the kind of limited action last year in training camp and in his 1 game. But Brzee, we've talked about him on your show before. He's not a perfect player, right? But I think he was getting better. Even if his sack numbers went down, I think he was a more complete player, and he's going to be a big loss for this team. So Broughton is still, kind of an unknown. We've seen him for 1 game. And, they've got to kind of figure out what's going to happen there and really what's going to happen beyond Vernon Broughton, because he's not going to be out there playing 100% of the snaps. I'll be curious to see if Christian Miller gets a chance to kind of slide outside and line up kind of head on over the tackle where right now he's kind of working primarily at nose. I'll be just interested to see how this rotation is going to look, because Brzee was going to play the lion's share of snaps out there, and now you got to figure out how to make up for not only that, but who is going to play Broughton snaps behind him.
Tell me if this is a wild idea or just flat wrong, but with the depth they brought in on the defensive edge, could Cam Jordan's role shift inside a little bit at times? Not full time, obviously, but can he help?
I think that'd be a tough ask. Because there's just like, I know he spent his entire career as a 4-3 defensive end, but just the difference in what you're asking that player to do in this scheme versus what he was doing in a 4-3 versus what they're asking him to do as a 3-4 rush end. Like he has to drop weight to play that position, like versus what he was playing at before. I don't think it's just something that you could just like kind of seamlessly move him in and out of that spot. Like you're asking him to do different things when he's at the rush end spot. I mean, he has to drop back in coverage on some snaps, and you're going to want to, if you're going to be playing that, head up over the tackle spot on the D line, like you're going to need to be playing with a different sort of skill set. So I think to me, they would rather keep Cam in a spot where he really thrived last year, and not kind of mess with what was working for him.
Let's go to the long term now from the short term. Obviously, the Saints picked up Brzez's option as a first-round pick. What does it mean for him not to play this year contractually moving forward?
Well, look, I mean, it's not good, right? It's a very similar thing to what happened with Sheldon Rankins during his time here. I think it might have been the exact same year. Obviously, his just happened later in the season. But timing-wise, it's just not good. He would have been eligible to sign an extension next year.
Yeah.
And he's still eligible to sign an extension next year. It's just that if you're Brian Brzee, you don't do it because you have to show what you can do. So that's the hard part is that he's going to have to play that fifth-year option through. He's not going to go through the Chris Olave thing that he's going through right now, where he's playing on the option this year and he's doing a hold-in thing at training camp to get the contract done. Like he's going to have to play it out. But I mean, it could also be worse, where, not trying to put like any bad juju on this, but if Chris Olave goes out there and has a contact injury while he's just doing the individual drills, like it's going to be hard for him to recoup that money, because like this is a contract year. Brzee will at least be able to play out next year. He'll be making good money next year and show what he can do. He's just going to have to wait on that contract.
Anybody do anything of note out there on the field today?
Yeah, I mean, I think we hit most of it, but I do want to bring up, Chase Young is, look, I mean, we've said it every time we've watched him in training camp. Like he's unreal in training camp. And last year he put it together on the field, but like today, they're not in pads. But I mean, he is just a force, man. Like he's just wrecking plays, and I mean that's absolutely what you want to see. You want to see this guy like develop into like a true superstar, which we all know he's got the ability to do. But like he's feeling it, man, and like he knows that he did something really special last year, and kind of his limited opportunities. And I think he's ready to just really, really go off, which is, if that does happen, that'd be huge news for the Saints defense.
You can read about Saints camp all month long over at NOLA.com, Times-Picayune. And Luke's here every single Thursday. We appreciate a little time. Try to stay cool out there, all right? And don't talk about the Brewers ever again.
Not happening on either count.
See you, Luke.
Yeah. Bye.
He is Luke Johnson, Brewers fan. They torment my entire summers, all of them. And it's something you can't understand if you're not in my shoes, and something you frankly don't care about. But it makes my summers a lot worse that they win almost every game. Although last night they got beat by like 100, so that was good. Shout out Tony Vitello and the Giants. Appreciate that. Even though the Cubs led by 2 in extra innings and gave up 3 in the bottom half and lost. And then I went to sleep in a bad mood because that's how summer usually goes. Let's get off baseball. We'll talk some more football. Is the Big Ten the best conference in the country? Does it matter? I'll tell you next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Just mentioned to Luke to stay cool. It's a little bit tough. I love seeing the Saints beat. They're all out there in their bucket hats. They got the light-fitting gear on. That's what you got to have. You got to stay hydrated, and you got to stay in loose-fitting gear. And that's from our friends over at Auctioner. Look, hydration is important all year round, but it's really important during the summer. And it plays a key role in how your body functions every single day. Proper hydration helps support energy, focus, recovery. If you're under an hour outside, drink a cup of water every 15 minutes, if at all possible. Avoid those peak heat hours if you possibly can. If you're out longer than an hour, add electrolytes and aim for a 2-to-1 water to sports drink ratio. Look, if you have mental changes That's a major red flag. If you're feeling a little bit off, shut it down. Don't overdo it this time of year. That's from our friends over at Ochsner. If you're dehydrated and need medical attention, find your nearest Ochsner urgent care at ochsner.org/UC.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has the new 2025 Jeep Wrangler with $18,000 off MSRP.
$18,000 off Jeep Wrangler plus the 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles.
If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Who bears the standard? Who sets the bar? It's not those satisfied by low-hanging fruit or by taking it easy. Now the standard is set by the best of us, by those who work hard. Dig deeper. Give more. At Sunshine, we're proud to provide John Deere products that work hard for you, the standard bearers. Find the dealer nearest you at sunequip.com.
People think it's all about game day.
Let's go! But the real work happens in the off season.
Spring practices, early lifts,
Extra reps. And we need a healthcare team that works as hard as we do.
At FMOL Health, our lay of the lake, we take care of LSU football year-round.
so we can do what we do best.
We trust the lake.
From championship athletes to everyday champions, trusted care starts here.
When it comes to industrial construction, River Parish Contractors can do it all. Mechanical, structural, custom fabrication, specialized welding, and turnaround services. Strategically located in between Baton Rouge and New Orleans, we have the local team with the experience and commitment to safety to manage the most complex industrial projects. Period. Here's the deal. Partnering with us means your project is delivered on time, on budget, and most important, safely. River Parish Contractors, let's get building.
The experts at Hood Dental Care want you smiling bigger and healthier than ever. New patients can get a healthy gums cleaning for just $89, plus a free exam and full mouth x-rays. A $376 value. With over 3,000 5-star Google reviews, 5 local locations, and easy online scheduling with same-day care. Hood Dental makes it simple to get started. And we always have other great giveaways for new patients. Check out hooddentalcare.com and schedule your appointment today.
Every Raising Cane's chicken finger is marinated, battered by hand, and cooked to order to perfection. We don't have heat lamps, because when you make it right, you can taste it.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
First American Bank and Trust, FABT.com, FABT.com. That's First American Bank and Trust. They've been at it for 116 years. It's remarkable longevity at First American Bank and Trust. They started up in 1910. 1910. And they've been in your communities ever since. Grown to 25 locations throughout Southeast Louisiana. If you're looking for a banking alternative, you're not happy with the customer service you're getting from the national bank, you make a phone call, somebody is out in San Francisco, they don't pick up the phone, you get put on hold, you're in a call center in Atlanta. That's no way to do it. Look, bank locally with First American Bank and Trust. 25 locations all throughout Southeast Louisiana, so there's always one near you. You can walk in and see a familiar face, see somebody that you go to church with on Sunday, see somebody whose kid is on the soccer team with yours. And every decision that's made about commercial loans, about personal loans, is made locally in Southeast Louisiana at First American Bank and Trust. It's just a different way to do things. And if you feel like the community bank doesn't have the resources to help you out with that commercial loan, think again. 25 locations. They got resources. It's First American Bank and Trust. They're online at FABT.com. You know, I was watching Big Ten Media Days early this week, and confident group of coaches, and I like that in July. That's fine with me. You get humbled on the scoreboard sometimes, but in July, you want to come out, sell your program, sell your conference. I'm in for it. And Greg Schiano's calling it the best conference in college football, and Fox analysts who, obviously have the Big Ten contract saying it's the best conference in college football, and they've got a claim to the last 3 national titles by 3 different teams. You can't take that away. Michigan, Ohio State, and Indiana have won the last 3 titles. And it begs the question, is the Big Ten the best league in America? And my answer to that is I don't care. I don't care who has, quote-unquote, the best league in America. I had no pride whatsoever in the Southeastern Conference dominating college football 15 years ago. I don't care at all about Tim Tebow's Florida teams winning. I don't want Cam Newton's Auburn team to win. I hate Nick Saban's dynasty. I don't like any of those teams. I have no pride in the Southeastern Conference. You would never catch me chanting SEC at a bowl game. I didn't care if the SEC was the best then. I actually didn't like it because it made things more difficult. And I don't care if the SEC is not as good as the Big Ten now. Now, I'll give you my opinion on the matter, but just as the jumping off point, I don't care. And I think there are probably some of you driving around that feel confidence and feel pride in the SEC being the toughest league. And I'm not telling you you're wrong, but I don't want to participate. I like Miami's route to the playoff. I like Clemson's route to the playoff. Y'all know that about me. I disagree with the morning show guys, and they can flash their national championship rings and all their years of NFL experience, and that would trump me, but it's not going to change the way that I feel about it. I don't think playing 8 really difficult games is the best way to get into the playoff. I think playing 4 is. Notre Dame's about to play 1. They're going to play 1 game this year. Notre Dame's guaranteed into the playoffs. All they have to do is stay on the bus, because they can get beat by Miami by 30 points. And as long as they beat BYU and SMU, along with their cast of loser opponents like Boston College and Purdue and Michigan State, they're in. Last year, they only played 3 games that matter. They went 1-2 and got left out at 10-2. But that's the best way to get into playoffs. So I don't care who has the best team, best league in the country. But let's just discuss it for those that do. Here's the way these 2 leagues will argue for themselves. The Big Ten will say, we've won the last 3 titles, 3 different schools. Same thing the SEC used to say. When back between 06 and 12, 7 years, the SEC won every title, and Florida got a couple, and LSU got 1, and Bama got a couple, and Auburn got 1. It's the same thing, but that's what the Big Ten will say. And the SEC, Lane Kiffin included, will say, it's really about the depth. Week in, week out, the grind of the SEC. And the selection committee won't respect that, but that's a big deal. Those are the 2 arguments. And the detractor will say, hey, Big Ten, how's Purdue? How's Northwestern? What's up with Minnesota? How are the Rutgers Scarlet Knights looking this year? Oh, Penn State fired their coach? They're not any good? What happened to Michigan? They lost 9 games the last 2 years? Where's your depth? Yeah, Ohio State's good. Indiana's had a great little run here. But, what do you pass your first 2 or 3 teams? That would be the detraction. And the Big Ten would look at the SEC and go, okay, well, wait a second. We're winning the championships here. You are getting teams into the playoff, and you're not winning. And that's where the rubber really meets the road on this. Because, yes, over the course of a very small sample size, but it's all we have, over the course of the 12-team playoff, which is 2 years old, the SEC has put 7 teams in the playoff. 7 of its 16 teams have made the playoff. That's a high number. And the Big Ten has only put 4. So the SEC is putting more teams in. But the SEC is 5-8 in the 12-team playoff. 5-8. And oh, by the way, one of those wins against Tulane, and 2 more of them are against each other. Ole Miss beat Georgia, and Alabama beat Oklahoma. So you're 5-8 in the playoff. In the Big Ten, yeah, only 4 teams have gotten in total, 4 programs, but 11-5 with 2 natties. And then the bigger number here is that the Big Ten is 3-0 against the Southeastern Conference in the playoff. That's where it matters. Here's the deal. I believe the SEC's depth, if we forecast the next 5 years, is stronger than the Big Ten's. Because I think Georgia and Ohio State are what and what. And then Texas is probably next, and Indiana's probably next, and that's what and what. Indiana's got the trophy. Texas has got a lot of really good players, and they may be great this year. I'm forecasting 5 years. Remember, I'm not talking about the last 2. Like, that's the top. And then you've got this tier below that where we think, Michigan might step up a little bit. And obviously, Penn State's got a proud tradition. And you've got Alabama. Like, what are they? It's kind of like Michigan where it's not Harbaugh, Michigan anymore. It's not Saban, Alabama anymore. It's kind of right there. And you got Tennessee that has made the playoff okay. And Penn State's made the playoff okay. And there's like a group right there behind it. And then there's like whatever. I have no interest whatsoever in any coach or selection committee telling me, hey, that game against Kentucky or Mississippi State or South Carolina, like that's a lot tougher than playing Minnesota or Rutgers. Like, I don't care about that. If you're a championship level team, you don't deal with 8 through 16 in this. Saban doesn't lose to those teams. Kirby didn't lose to those teams. Ryan Day doesn't lose to those teams. Harbaugh doesn't lose to those teams. Cignetti doesn't lose to those teams. I don't care what the nice place team looks like in the NFL draft. I just don't. The depth at the top is what's important. The depth at the top. So if you can show me 5, 6 programs at the top of your league that are really good, throw the rest out. I don't have any interest in discussing what Minnesota is doing. I don't care. I don't care what Missouri's doing either. Not relevant. And I realize that Indiana has disproven this dismissal, but if you pop up and do that, then I'll give you the respect I'm giving Indiana right now. But for the most part, that's a Cignetti NIL thing, and that's just not something you can just snap your fingers and do. So to me, the top of your top of your league needs to show some depth and needs to win in December and January. And the SEC's problem is that, I think Kiffin's Ole Miss team 2 years ago, the team that went 9-3, that LSU beat in overtime, that lost to Kentucky and lost to Florida, I think that team was really good. A lot of pros, first-round pick at quarterback, like good team. But if you can't handle the crap at the bottom like they couldn't against Kentucky and Florida, I can't give you the benefit of the doubt. And that's kind of what Kiffin's saying. He's saying, like, oh, here's the grind. Like, it's tough. We're good, but the committee's not going to take a 9-3 team and put him over a 10-2 team. And he's kind of talking about that team 2 years ago. I don't have any sympathy for it. You got to win the games. Ohio State never loses those teams. Now, I know they lost to that crappy Michigan team, and that's a whole different kettle of fish. But, like, Ohio State goes 11-1, 12-0 every year. Georgia goes 11-1 every year. That's the standard. And then the teams right below that, which Indiana's vaulted themselves into over the last 2 years, we'll see if they can validate it this year. Maybe they can't. And they'll kind of drift down like Alabama's done. But to me, if you're going to have this discussion and you're telling me that I need to take a bet over the next 10 years, I'd feel pretty good about the SEC. If you're telling me judge it at this very moment in time, I got to go with the Big Ten because of what they've done in the playoffs. They've beaten you 3 times in the playoffs. They've won the 3 national championships in the last 3 years. They passed you in the draft this year. And right now, you've got some teams, some programs that are not reaching their ceiling. Here's the reason I would bet on the SEC moving forward. Auburn's nowhere near its ceiling. Been trash for 5 years. Florida's nowhere near its ceiling. Been trash. The whole Napier era. LSU was 7-6 last year. Not close to its ceiling. And when you look at the teams that are trying to do that, and I haven't mentioned Oregon in this, and I should. Oregon is in that conversation that I mentioned where Bama is, where Texas is. They're very, very relevant, very nationally. The standard bearers in the Big Ten are Ohio State, Indiana, and Oregon. And in the SEC, you're talking about Georgia, Texas, and then probably Alabama. And then you've got this next group that has potential. And there are more SEC teams that are not reaching their potential right now than there are Big Ten teams. Now, look, USC is not right now, and they can. They're not. Michigan's not there right now, even though they won 2 years ago. They've lost 9 games the last 2 years since Harbaugh left. They've had 7 head coaches in 3 years. Penn State just fired their coach. They're not doing the things they need to be doing. And then you can determine whether or not you think Nebraska has it in them to be better, or UCLA has it in them to be better, or Washington has it in them to be better. But I like the group of Auburn, Florida, LSU, Tennessee, A&M better than I do that group. I think there's more upside there, even in this era. But right now, this very present moment, I would have to suggest the Big Ten is a better league than the SEC because of what the top is doing, and that's what matters. I just don't care about the 10th place team in your league and how they're tough any given Saturday. I understand what you're trying to say, but this is a playoff-driven sport and a national championship-driven discussion. And the Big Ten is controlling that right now. And that may irk some of you, and some of you may be like me and don't care at all. But I heard the SEC coaches talk about the grind. I heard the Big Ten coaches talking about how they have the best league. And I just kind of decided to give it some thought and pen a column. So I did at LouisianaSports.net. You can read that at the front page right there for free, right under Ross's news from today at Saints Camp, which is also free if you want to dive into that. I'm not completely convicted in my discussion, in my argument, in my point. I can be swayed one way or another, but it's the way I feel right now without anyone swaying me, just looking at the data. I think the Big Ten's got the claim. I think the SEC could wrestle it back over the next couple of years, and I think that those two conferences are in for some really good battles moving forward, where in a bygone era, it was just, can Ohio State keep up? And if not, well, what SEC team are we giving the crown to? I didn't like that era at all. A team I hated was winning all the time. All right, we're chugging along here on a Thursday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. We'll take a time out. I'll give you the latest on LSU and Logan Schmidt to close out the hour. That's next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Lifetime Roofing, LifetimeRoofingLA.com, LifetimeRoofingLA.com. Not just roofing at Lifetime Roofing. They also do professional installation of gutters. They also do professional installation of siding. They do professional installation of windows. If the exterior of your home needs a refresher, whether that's the roof, gutters, siding, windows, contact Relief Windows, contact Lifetime Roofing. They can do it all. They got 0% financing for 18 months. You can finance a deductible if you're looking to do it. As of January 1st, they can offer a lifetime workmanship warranty. That's this past January 1st. Been doing it for about 7 months. And look, that's backed by Certainty, one of the oldest and most trusted names in building materials. It's Lifetime Roofing. Find them online at lifetimeroofingla.com.
As a business owner, you're always focused on how you can improve the bottom line. Well, when was the last time you shopped your insurance coverage? Insurance Network of Louisiana can help. If you're a business owner, let my friends at Insurance Network of Louisiana see if they can find you better coverage for less money. They always offer exceptional customer service and partner with only the best providers. So check them out online today at lainsurance.net.
Eagle 98.1, the rock station. Home of the Woody Show in the morning. Scotty Mack with Rock at Work. Michelle Southern with Southern Rock. Home of LSU sports since 1998. And rock for Baton Rouge since 1985. Take us anywhere with the Eagle 98.1 app. To join our VIP fan club, text ROCK to 225-499-9898. Eagle 98.1, the rock station.
Investing in a new roof doesn't have to be overwhelming. At Pelican Roofing, we offer 0 interest for 21 months because everyone deserves a safe, secure home. Trusted, local, affordable. Pelican Roofing, making quality roofing affordable for South Louisiana families.
If your office is experiencing performance issues like slow networks, jammed printers, or disappearing files, Advanced Office Systems may be right for you. With powerful IT solutions, print management, document imaging, and security systems, they help offices regain confidence naturally. Side effects may include uncontrollable efficiency, smoother workflows, and a sudden burst of office joy. Say goodbye to those emotional breakdowns in the supply closet and get back on track with Advanced Office Systems.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. Look, back pain can sideline you from the things you love. That's why I trust Dr. Kevin McCarthy and the team at the Spine Center of Louisiana. Dr. McCarthy doesn't just treat symptoms. He gets to the root of the problem. From advanced injection therapy to minimally invasive surgery, they've got the expertise to get you back in the game. With 5 locations across Louisiana, including right here in Baton Rouge, quality care is close to home. Call the Spine Center of Louisiana or visit spinecenterla.com.
Ever wonder why cane sauce doesn't come in a pre-sealed packet? It's because it's made fresh inside every Raising Cane's every single day. Because when you make it right,
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is the website. David Duvall and his team, 30 years redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. Closet space is not something I ever really considered. It's certainly not something I considered when I bought my first house. And then the fiance moved in, now wife moved in. And she looked around and went, "Where are we supposed to put all our stuff?" I was like, "Well, we got closets around here. Just figure it out." And we had coats in the hallway. We had stuff up in the attic, had the kids' rooms full of stuff. And it was not good, but we would have called David Duvall at One Bath and Closets. We knew we were moving. Kid number 2 was on the way, so we were gonna move. Didn't want to put the time into that house, so we prioritized closet space in the new house. If you don't want to move, you've locked in an incredible interest rate, you live in a great part of town, and you do need new closet space, call David Duvall at One Bath and Closets. Let him come in and transform your closet. He can customize it to your specifications. You can look at what you have. It starts with a questionnaire: how many shoes you got, how many people are we talking about, how much square footage is there, and then we'll put together a custom solution for you that not only will work for you functionally, but it'll be aesthetically pleasing as well. His work is gorgeous. Go to OneBathAndClosets.com. You can check out the pictures of their fantastic work. He will do it right the first time and leave the competition behind. It's One Bath and Closets. They're online at OneBathAndClosets.com. All right, so on Monday, the deadline passed for Logan Schmidt to sign with the Cleveland Guardians. We kept you updated on that story over the weekend at LouisianaSports.net and discussed it again on Monday and Tuesday here on the show. And we told you once that deadline passed at 4 o'clock on Monday that there was no more deadline in the near future. You got to enroll in school at some point, but you don't have to have a hard and fast deadline. Logan Schmidt has signed with LSU. His spot at LSU is available. If he wants to come to LSU, he can come and enroll at LSU before school starts in the middle of August. If he wants to go to junior college, I'm confident they'll make those accommodations as well. So you're not really up against it today. In 3 weeks, you're up against it. But right now, you're not. So what's the latest on Logan Schmidt? From what I'm told, LSU has put its best foot forward. LSU has spoken to Logan Schmidt, has once again laid out its case, and this is not a situation where LSU is negotiating. The pitch has been made. There's a financial package that's involved with every player that's going to come in, whether that's a transfer portal or the high school ranks, and that's not something that's going to change drastically with this situation. There is a development plan for each individual player. They've certainly laid that out with Logan Schmidt. And keep in mind, these conversations were had well before the draft, but they weren't necessarily as in-depth as some of the other players because Logan Schmidt didn't really think he was coming to LSU. So it's kind of been a re-recruitment of sorts. And that was the case during the draft process and the signing period. Now, they've kind of laid that out. Jay Johnson has been at the front of that. And LSU's going to let him decide. This is not one of those, like, the recruitment that comes to mind for me the most, it was an impressionable year for me. I was in college as a freshman. It was Joe McKnight. You remember at the end of Joe McKnight, he's at John Curtis, and, like, Pete Carroll comes to River Ridge, and he's got Reggie Bush's Heisman Trophy, and Pete Carroll's leaving, and Les Miles is pulling up right after him, and it's, like, pressure time, and signing day's the next day, and it's, like, time is of the essence. This is not that. This is, okay, you know what the deal is. Here's what happens if you come to LSU. Here's our pitch. We'd love to have you. I know that you weren't considering this, but this is what we can do for you. And then there's the junior college route that's not going to if he goes to junior college, he's not going to get a Cade Anderson monster top 5 pick signing bonus. He's not. He's not going to get that he's not going to go 5th in the draft from the 2nd round from JUCO. He could go to LSU and work his way up to that type of level. We've seen Paul Skeens and Cade Anderson do it in short order. But there's also a risk where you could come to the SEC and get knocked around a little bit and fall down the draft boards. It's possible. Junior college, you're probably not going to fall down draft boards, and you can just run it back the same way you kind of did this past year with gaudy stats, overwhelming, overmatched hitters, and likely go somewhere in the second round again for somewhere in the neighborhood of $2.5 million and move on. And this is just going to have to be a decision that Logan Schmidt and his team make. So there's not going to be any more visits. There's not going to be any more hard sales pitches. The Guardians are out of the picture. This is just a player and his camp determining how they want to approach the next 1 to 3 years. And from what I've been told, I don't expect this to drag out for 3 weeks. I would expect a decision, and this is the term that was used to me, pretty soon. So would it stun me if a decision was made while I'm still in the air today? No. Would it stun me if it was made next Tuesday? No. Would it stun me if it was made August 26th? That would be pretty shocking because there's not anything else to be learned. This is a bet. The Schmidt camp is making a bet. They're either betting on drastic improvement at LSU and an improved signing bonus in a great pitching ecosystem, or short-term, limited variables, get back in the draft next year. And they're going to bet on one of those two to start his career. And I think it's going to happen pretty quickly. The last thing I'll leave you with is the confidence level for LSU. LSU feels okay about it. They don't feel great. They're not locked in. They don't feel like, oh, it's over. I have talked to sources at LSU pre-draft that have told me about guys and said, yeah, that's not going to happen. He's not coming here. And I know that LSU has spoken to Logan Schmidt after the deadline, and I was not told he's not coming here. I was not told, oh, we got him. But I was not told he's not coming here. So I think LSU feels like they're very much in the mix. But I still lean towards JUCO because I think that's the plan that they kind of had, the closest thing to the plan they had moving forward. We'll see. That's it for hour number 1. We got a lot in hour number 2. Tyler Shuck sound, Lane Kiffin sound. We'll pause for Sports Center, national headlines. Come back, hour 2. It's Thursday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
GoTro's Outdoor Power, GoTrosOnline.com, GoTrosOnline.com. 22 years for the GoTro family in business here, Baton Rouge and Gonzales. Largest parts inventory in the state of Louisiana. National Hustler Dealer of the Year, 2 of the last 3 years, right here in our area. It's still July, barely. So you got a chance to get by today, tomorrow, and get 20% off MSRP for Hustler commercial mowers. 0% financing for 48 months is available if you get on by today or tomorrow. I can't promise you what's going on in August. I'm sure it'll be awesome, but I got July right here, and that's what they got. So if you're looking for that Hustler, that zero-turn mower to manage your property, that grass is growing like crazy right now with the heat and the rain. Get to GoTro's Outdoor Power and get those great deals. It's GoTro's Outdoor Power, online at GoTrosOnline.com.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our number one product's always customer satisfaction. Come visit us at ReliefWindows.com. By the way, we do shutters too.
Ever wonder why cane sauce doesn't come in a pre-sealed packet? It's because it's made fresh inside every Raising Cane's every single day. Because when you make it right, you can taste it in every bite. Raising Cane's chicken fingers. One love.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has the new 2025 Jeep Wrangler with $18,000 off MSRP.
$18,000 off Jeep Wrangler plus the 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles.
If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
At Parrish, we take pride in building roofs that last. Because in Louisiana, toughness isn't just on the court, it's in your home too.
Parrish Construction and Roofing. ParrishBuilt.com.
At Parrish, we take pride in building roofs that last. Because championships are built on commitment, not just on the floor or the court, but your home too.
Parrish Construction and Roofing. ParrishBuilt.com.
I've been in banking for over 35 years. I usually start about 7:30 in the morning, and I usually leave somewhere around 5, or if customers need me to meet them at their house or their business places, I don't mind going after hours. I have done churches, subdivisions, retail centers, hospitals, and nursing homes. And that's why we chose to live in this community, because of the values First American Bank has, that I can serve my community and my customers.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. Look, back pain can sideline you from the things you love. That's why I trust Dr. Kevin McCarthy and the team at the Spine Center of Louisiana. Dr. McCarthy doesn't just treat symptoms. He gets to the root of the problem. From advanced injection therapy to minimally invasive surgery, they've got the expertise to get you back in the game. With 5 locations across Louisiana, including right here in Baton Rouge, quality care is close to home. Call the Spine Center of Louisiana or visit spinela.com and tell them Matt sent you.
As a business owner, you're always focused on how you can improve the bottom line. Well, when was the last time you shopped your insurance coverage? Insurance Network of Louisiana can help. If you're a business owner, let my friends at Insurance Network of Louisiana see if they can find you better coverage for less money. They always offer exceptional customer service and partner with only the best providers. So check them out online today at lainsurance.net.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm John Ryder. Buccaneers quarterback Baker Mayfield and the team could not reach an agreement on a new contract before his imposed deadline of the start of training camp. Mayfield has played the last 3 years of his career with Tampa Bay, playing 17 games in each of the seasons.
It's been some of the best years of my career, and I think it's only going to trend upwards, just being comfortable and feeling that. So disappointing in that regard to not have, to feel disrespected a little bit. And that's really the disappointing part, to feel undervalued after, thinking you've earned it. This is not a poor me thing. There's a lot of other people that have it way worse off.
Baker Mayfield says that he will not have any more contract discussions until after the season. Carolina Panthers rookie receiver Chris Brazell will undergo season-ending surgery with a torn LCL in his left knee. Baseball right now, plenty of day baseball. The Royals lead the Twins 3-0 in the 6th in Minnesota. Kansas City starter Noah Cameron is working on a no-hitter. Jack Caglianone with the 2-run homer is 17th of the season. Rays lead the Rangers 3-2 in the 9th at the Trop. Cedric Mullins with a go-ahead solo shot in the 8th is 13th of the season.
If you run a small business, you've got to try Gusto. Get unlimited payroll runs and get your payroll taxes filed automatically. Offer health insurance, 401k, and more. Get started for free at gusto.com.
Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
A magic beyond anything you could ever imagine.
You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Locking down the middle of the day.
You really think that's the best idea?
Live from the Raising Cane studio, this is Hunt Palmer.
It's quite a piece of work.
Hour 2, Thursday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show, really working towards the weekend now, brought to you by Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. We'll hear more of some sound from Lane Kiffin coming up in 15 minutes. We are deep into the sound season here. It's talking season in July. As you get into August, it's a lot of sound season, a lot of press conferences, a lot of players, a lot of coaches, and heard from Lane Kiffin at the Rotary Club yesterday. Opened the show with that. If you missed it, you can catch it on demand, Hunt on LSU. But Tyler Shuck, new Saints quarterback, also hit the mic yesterday and had a lot to say, because this is just a whole new world for him in a completely different way than it was last year. Last year's a whole new world because he was an NFL quarterback for the first time. Now, he's a leader of a franchise. And if you listen to our show yesterday and listen to the sound from Alvin Kamara, you heard just how different this is for Tyler Shuck and how much different he's presenting himself to his teammates. So let's just get his word for how different this is as opposed to day one of last year in training camp.
Yeah, I think everybody's was super anxious to get back out there. I think from an off-season perspective, we checked off a lot of boxes from just connecting with each other, having fun, but also competing, getting better. So now it's kind of a sense of urgency where, we're going to watch film, we're going to want a lot of stuff back, but then like you said, looking back from last year, we're still trying to figure out the huddle and trying to figure out the cadence, and myself still trying to figure out everything. So I'm going to make mistakes. Everybody's going to make mistakes, but I feel like this training camp, we're all kind of striving to really get better and put it together.
One of the biggest talking points from this summer and off season really with Tyler Shuck was the organization of the group throwing over in San Diego, and that's something that Drew Brees took very seriously, and it's something that, as I understand it, Drew Brees was a big part of this past year as well. And it's great to hear that Drew's still involved with the black and gold and trying to do what he can to mentor Tyler Shuck as he attempts to be the next franchise quarterback in New Orleans. And Shuck talked about going out west and doing those throwing sessions.
It was awesome. Just so much fun. I think it was so worth it, just spending time with each other. I got to spend a week with Jawan and our whole families, living with each other every single hour, every day. And, it's irreplaceable. We're out there with all the guys, working out, having fun. And that was kind of one of the biggest takeaways I got from Drew was that this is kind of where the magic happens. And, there's 31 other teams doing training camp, doing the same thing that we are. But how do we kind of spend that time as much as we can to get better?
Look, I'll be honest with you. As I'm looking at the Saints receiving from last year, and I'm looking at Chris Olave with 100 catches, and that's great. And Juwan Johnson had a really good year, 77 grabs. Rashid Shaheed had 44 catches. He's no longer here. Alvin Kamara with 33. Vele had 25. And then you start to trundle on down. Brandon Cooks moved on. Kevin Austin, Mason Tipton, Dante Pettis, Jack Stoll, Ronnie Bell, Molokai Matavel. Like, this is the group that Tyler Shuck was working with last year. And so obviously, this offseason, as we've made a big deal out of, they went out and got some help. And Tyler Shuck talked about all the weapons now at his disposal as opposed to what we were looking at in December of last year.
Yeah, I think it's a good problem to have is when you have a lot of talent, but it's also you got to play football, and those guys understand that, you're not ever going to get a perfect look per se, but you're going to have to do everything you can to do your job, and, everyone's super great about that. You got guys like Travis and AK and who are super talented that are going to be taking every single rep, but you have, equal talent there and can bounce ideas off of each other, and same thing in the tight end room and receiver room and obviously the O-line. So it's my job to continue to get better myself, but also give them those opportunities.
And chief among those guys who needs opportunities, who had a touchdown catch today, and look, they're wearing jerseys and shorts out there and just helmets, but hey, Jordan Tyson had a touchdown today, and Tyler Shuck's had an opportunity now to work with Tyson, probably not to the extent that you would like because of the way the Saints have eased Jordan Tyson in, but that's okay. It's still pretty early, and we talked to Luke Johnson in hour number 1, and he talked about just how well Jordan Tyson moves out there, and he just has such a way about him athletically. And Tyler Shuck will continue to learn him, and he's seen a little bit, but what is he like about Jordan Tyson?
One, the ability is there. He's got obviously all the talent in the world, but two, he really wants to be great, and that's probably one of my favorite things about him is that he's such a good dude, but I feel like we share this common ilk of, we're never satisfied, and he's 21 years old and, has every right to maybe think you have made it, you get drafted in the first round, but he's, he understands that there's so much more to go and for all of us. So he's going to do a great job of just continuing to get better, and like all of us.
When I initially saw these two bites together, I was like, what does he like about Jordan Tyson and what does he do well in the field? Those are kind of the same thing. Well, no, because he talked about the mental aspect of that and in the way that Jordan Tyson is fitting in and working with the Saints, which is great to hear. This is the part that he does on the football field.
I think separation. He does a really good job of separating the line of scrimmage, and then he's really consistent with his hands as well. So I think the tough part right now is we're installing plays. We're going to have different routes, so you're not going to see a full gambit of maybe everything within a whole season. But him being able to have that savviness and understanding on certain plays, but have the ability to get open, and reminds me a lot of CO and in that way, and their ability to change direction, but also kind of give a really good burst.
Now this next bite is not something I'm going to spend a lot of time on in August. I'm going to spend a little time on it in August, but not a lot, because it's overly pessimistic, I think. But we do have to understand that there's so much optimism and confidence around Tyler Shuck that it is my nature, and y'all have heard me talk about this, my nature is to look at both sides of things, something we've learned through personality tests here at Guarantee. It's my nature to look at the optimism around Tyler Shuck and about the Saints into the season and go, okay, well, what if that's not exactly right? And so what if it is a little bit of fool's gold with bad competition that they're playing and with some late game heroics that, may not have happened given this bounce of the ball or that bounce of the ball. Like, what would that look like if we were looking at fool's gold last year? And so Tyler Shuck was asked about pitfalls in a quote-unquote, like, sophomore slump.
Yeah, I think for me, it's just every single day is finding one thing I can kind of focus on and get better. And I think you look at it from a holistic perspective, and you can look at last year in multiple ways. We were at the bottom of the NFC South. It wasn't a good year. So I think there's a lot of stuff that we can build off of, and as a whole team and myself. And it still feels like a year one. I have the banked reps on some of it, but I've still only played a certain amount of games. And I feel like myself, I have a lot more to learn and a lot more to grow. And I think as a team, we feel the same way. And that's exciting at the same time. We want that experience and expectation, but we also want to get better.
And look, this is a soundbite. It doesn't mean anything unless you use it in practice. But all I have is a soundbite to go off of, so I'll go ahead and speak to that. Like, if that is actually how he approaches work every day, that's awesome. Because if he feels like there's so much more he's got to learn, he's going to continue to do that. And the little piece of that bite that I liked was, it was a bad year. We were at the bottom of the NFC South. That's a great piece of perspective because it would be easy for him to look at this and go, well, once I got in there, we were 500 football team. They've lost all those games before I even got on the field. Now, he would not say that publicly, obviously. But it would be one way to look at it if your attitude stunk. But it doesn't sound like in any bite that we get from the Tyler Shuck that his attitude is anything but really, really good. So I love to see that. The Saints have got to be more explosive. Obviously, they were not an explosive offense for the vast majority of last year. Now, so much of that was early on with Spencer Rattler, where it was check down, safe, check down, check down, check down. And Shuck brought a little bit more element of explosiveness, one, through the air, obviously, but also on the ground a little bit with the way he ran the football at times. What has he seen, and can he see more explosiveness from this next Saints team?
I mean, everybody. I think from a defensive side, too, you see the break on the ball. You see the way we've been working in the offseason. Then, obviously, offensively, the get off from the line of scrimmage. And I think they were really, obviously, everyone has ability in the NFL, but I think the thing I'm, really proud of the guys is, the people who we picked up, one, they really want to, like I said with Jordan, they want to be really good. And same thing with Travis and Noah. They're just great dudes. So you wouldn't think that, these are like all pro players, the way that they act, but they carry themselves in such a high way.
And look, you need those guys to be really good. You need Noah Fant to be a key piece to the passing game. You need Travis Etienne to be really, really good in terms of the running game. You need Jordan Tyson to show up and be a playmaker. And we have every indication to believe those guys have that ability. It's just got to happen. Here's the last bite from Tyler Shuck yesterday at Saints camp.
I mean, I think just from a time on task perspective and reps, it helps out a lot. I think being able to just have the comfortability, with a lot of the guys in the playbook, from the huddle mechanics, cadences, stuff like that. But we also, like I said before, we also have a lot to chip away at. Like I said, it's a new team, so we have a lot of new faces that we have to kind of help bring on board, and including myself. So it's exciting, and I think more than anything, and right now Kellen's done a good job of keeping us focused on that.
This is not something that my listenership's going to be exposed to very much, but as I've told y'all a bunch of times, like I am, because I'm during this time of year, this is when the Cubs season is ramping up, and you're going, what the hell is he talking about the Cubs for? Well, I catch Bears stuff in my Cubs stuff this time of year because they're reporting. And one of the things that the Bears media has lamented so much about their organization is that they continue to change coaches and offensive coordinators and quarterbacks so that the quarterback never gets to sit into a system for a couple of years and be what they're supposed to be. They were firing Matt Nagy and then drafting Mitch Trubisky, and then they got rid of Trubisky, and then Matt Eberflus comes in, and then you're trying to stack all these quarterbacks, and none of them ever have an ecosystem that is constant for 2 or 3 years. And so they're hoping with Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams that they've got that. And now you look at the Saints and you look at Shuck, and this is year 2 of Shuck with Kellen Moore, and it's year 2 with Shuck and Doug Nussmeier. And so his ecosystem has been consistent since he got into the league. And that is a vital thing. It's an important thing. And the organizations that are always trying to make a move and make a change and then disrupting any foundation that's been laid is a disaster. And the Saints are not doing that. The Saints got their coach. He drafted his quarterback. He got his quarterback into the game late in the season, and now they're both back. That's the way it needs to be done. That's the best way to go about it. And that's where the Saints are. It doesn't guarantee success, but it certainly gives you a heck of a lot better chance than if Justin Fields is in the middle of that Bears thing I'm talking about too. It was Nagy, Trubisky, Fields, Eberflus, Johnson, Williams. Like it was just a mess. And they never got it right. And the Saints are not falling into that pitfall. Doesn't guarantee success, but it certainly helps. And that's a good thing for the folks down there in the black and gold. So that's Tyler Shuck, day one of Saints training camp yesterday, day two in the books today. Nothing pressing news-wise, but if you're looking for a recount of everything that happened out there at Saints camp, you can check it out online this afternoon at louisianasports.net. Ross Jackson writes as detailed a practice reports as I have ever seen in my life. If you want to check them out, again, you can do it for free right there at louisianasports.net. Thursday show is brought to you by Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. What did Lane Kiffin have to say about Sam Leavitt and one of my biggest question marks on this team? We'll get to that next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Marucci. Told you about the Cubs in the last segment. Talk about baseball right now. Marucci campus tours. What a cool deal. Almost time to go back to school. If your kids are sick of doing the same thing they've been doing for 2 months and want something new as the summer comes to a close, well, how about a tour at Marucci? Get them out of the house. Show them where the official bat of Major League Baseball is made. Let them learn about the story about 2 former MLB guys, their trainer in the backyard, making some bats, and all of a sudden, 20 years later, it's the official bat of Major League Baseball. They make 1,200 of them every single day. You can watch where they carve them, shape them, shave them down, stain them, ship them out to the best players in the world. Right here out of Baton Rouge. Step into the heart of the game. It's Marucci. You can get tickets to the campus tour at maruccisports.com. That's maruccisports.com.
People think it's all about game day. Let's go! But the real work happens in the off season.
Spring practices, early lifts, extra reps.
And we need a healthcare team that works as hard as we do.
At FMOL Health, our lay of the lake, we take care of LSU football year-round.
So we can do what we do best.
We trust the lake.
From championship athletes to everyday champions, trusted care starts here.
If your office is experiencing performance issues like slow networks, jammed printers, or disappearing files, Advanced Office Systems may be right for you. With powerful IT solutions, print management, document imaging, and security systems, they help offices regain confidence naturally. Side effects may include uncontrollable efficiency, smoother workflows, and a sudden burst of office joy. Say goodbye to those emotional breakdowns in the supply closet and get back on track with Advanced Office Systems.
My name is Mike Krumholt, and I've been with First American Bank for 4 years. What makes First American Bank special is we're able to offer all the products and services that any other big bank can offer. What sets us apart is being able to give that small town feel that someone can pick up the phone and they can talk to someone or stop by the branch and get excellent customer service.
Eagle 98.1, the rock station. Home of the Woody Show in the morning. Scotty Mack with Rock at Work. Michelle Southern with Southern Rock. Home of LSU sports since 1998. And rock for Baton Rouge since 1985. Take us anywhere with the Eagle 98.1 app. To join our VIP fan club, text ROCK to 225-499-9898. Eagle 98.1, the rock station.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
We'll hear from Lane Kiffin here in just a second, but you'll often hear him say it's just different, right? You know what else is just different? Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. It's just different. It's a different way to do beef. It can be an experience for you. Go up to the farm. Go up to Ethel, 30 miles north, and you'll see what Sean has built, and you'll see the process that he goes through. He'll talk you through it. Every single cow on that farm is a 3-year journey, from the genetics to being raised on grass, finished on grain, dry-aged 45, 55, 65 days to create a fantastic, consistent product. You're talking about prime Angus beef. I know when you go get beef weekly, you're paying a premium price because everybody is. Herd levels are low and beef is expensive. But is it any good what you're getting? Do you know how many DNA are in that 1 pound pack? It could be thousands. Do you know if it's been improperly treated with antibiotics or steroids? You don't have to worry about that with Sagrera Farms. You're getting 1 DNA. Buy half a cow. Buy a quarter. Buy a whole cow. Split it between 4 families. Changes the way you do beef. It's just different. And it's prime every time. We don't do anything else in the Palmer House. Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. Call Sean. Ask to visit the farm. He would love to have you. He'll show you the whole deal. 719-1723. Again, that's 225-719-1723. It's Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. Okay, Lane Kiffin at the Rotary Club yesterday. We gave you a lot of that yesterday in the first segment today, but there's more to get to. And I want to talk about first what everybody wants to talk about, and that, of course, is Sam Leavitt and how he looks. Kiffin's talked about that a little bit, and I've given you snippets of that here and there, but here's another update on LSU's quarterback.
Sam's doing great. He's coming back from a foot injury. He's full strength. Now it's just about getting the timing down with everybody. And anytime you bring a new quarterback in, but really the world we're in now, and especially in the rebuilding of the offense, all the quarterbacks are new and almost all the receivers are new. So that's a lot of work to do. And Sam missing spring, this has been very critical in the summer. In fall camp, obviously, will be really critical. But health-wise, he's in really good shape. And he's really been grinding in there to get back faster than they even had him on track for.
It's a big summer, y'all, and it's in the rearview mirror now because they start practicing less than a week. But hopefully, and all reports are, they've gotten a lot of work in. It's disappointing that he could not participate in the spring, but we knew that the day he signed with LSU. And you'd love to have, McNeese in the first game to get everybody out there on the field and moving and calling plays and, making checks at the line and doing all that, but you don't have it. And guess what? Trinidad Chambliss didn't have it last year either. And Joe Burrow didn't have it his first year. When you come in the summer, it's just tough. And hopefully they've been able to get up to speed. We won't be able to tell you that. Like, if it's noticeably awful, we'll be able to tell you while we're out there what it looks like. But we don't see that much. And if they're running 1-on-0s and 1-on-1s and stuff, that's not going to give us a real indication of what this offense is looking like. You trust Kiffin. You trust Weiss. And he's a talented dude, and so you trust this to get up to speed rather quickly, but it would be quicker if you had a spring to get it done, and they just didn't. So now it's up to Sam Leavitt and those receivers, when the coaches are not allowed out there, to get as much work in as possible, and then you got to hit the ground running when you start practice, and you got to maximize your time out there to get everybody up to speed. So that's the hope with Sam Leavitt and an update on LSU's quarterback. Now, one of my Chiefs' concerns here is depth at corner. I remember vividly sitting in the Tiger Stadium press box, watching the scrimmage, and watching Aiden Anding undercut an out route, picked it off. Everybody's going nuts on the defensive sideline, and then he just goes down. Non-contact, just fell down. And he's far away from me. The press box is way up. I didn't have binoculars on, so it's impossible to know in an instant. But then he didn't get up. And then they walked him off the field, and he sat on the training table for like 25 minutes. And if you just tweaked your ankle, you probably don't do that. You probably get up and test it. You probably, get some tape put on it. He just sat there. And I was like, this is not good. And it wasn't. We found out a couple days later he had a torn Achilles, and that was a big deal because I believe Aiden Anding was on his way to being LSU's third corner. I think it was going to be Pickett, Woodland, Anding. I think he was going to beat Jakeem Jackson out. I have no way to prove that. It's just what I think. And so now he's not there. And beyond Jakeem Jackson, you've got a lot of guys who hadn't played much football. And so Lane Kiffin talked about depth at cornerback.
The quality of the backup corners is more important now than it used to be too, because it's hard to play every snap now because of a lot of tempo. But we have a lot of guys to look at, some younger guys. That's just the world that you're in now too. You're not going to be able to stockpile like you used to where, man, here's the next first rounder, coming off the bench. That's a young guy. So, but it frustrates me, but then I realize everybody's in those same situations.
And they are, but LSU's thin at corner. And so we'll see. I'm curious at our first day to get a look at some of the freshmen who came in January, because it stands to reason if you came in January and it's now almost August, you've had 7 full months to put on some weight. And college kids at that age, in that kind of where they monitor everything they're eating and everything they're drinking and all the activity that they're doing and how much they're lifting, you can put some weight on. And it's possible for guys to put on 10 pounds in 7 months. There's no doubt about that. And that can make a big difference. It's possible to put on 15 pounds. And so I'll be looking at some of these freshmen, and Haven Finney's one of them, because I don't know if Haven Finney's going to play 12 games this year or 2 games this year. I wouldn't be shocked with either one. But he's kind of the next, really talented dude. And look, DJ Pickett played a lot undersized last year. We've seen freshmen come in here and play. PJ Woodland played early. I mean, I'm not going to put everybody in Derek Stingley's class here, but people play early at corner. And Havon Finney is a guy that I'm going to look at and see if he's put on a little bit of weight. Might be able to give you a little bit of help out there at the cornerback spot. And the last bite from Rotary Club yesterday with Lane Kiffin, talking about LSU's brand and using that to create NIL opportunities, which are vital to keep guys happy and get guys to campus, quite frankly.
Everybody wants to look at NIL and think it's, okay, well, how much money does the player get from the school? Okay, no, it's part of its NIL opportunities. It's not just do they have the donor base to raise the money. It's do they have the NIL opportunities because the branding of the school. And as you look at, like I said at the press conference, like Nike, Nike's given more NIL contracts to our football players. I think it's 12. The next school is 8. Not next SEC school, next school, period. So look at the branding opportunities when you come to LSU in NIL. And I think that's been missed in there, that people just think it's just, well, how much money do you have from donors? No, the kids want to know, man, that's a unique place. I can make my brand better when I go there.
This is unquestionable. You can slice it however you want, and I'm sure Trinidad Chambliss and Kejuan Lacey are making a ton of money this year. But LSU's brand is more elevated than Ole Miss's. LSU's brand is more elevated than Auburn's. It's more elevated than Texas A&M's. It's more elevated than Tennessee's. It just is. The celebrities that this school has produced over the last, call it 7 years, whether it's NFL players, Major League Baseball All-Stars, #1 overall picks, national champions, Instagram celebrities, LSU's brand is massive. And you can capitalize on that if you come to LSU and you're really good. That is not me putting on purple and gold glasses. I sat here and told you yesterday that I think Devin Harper and Prince William Manuel owe Ole Miss money. And I look at things from an LSU perspective, but I also believe I can be, relatively speaking, objective. And in this case, I believe I am. And it's just on the positive side. LSU creates opportunities and has created opportunities that other schools don't create with as much frequency as LSU. Just go through the names. Burrow, Chase, Jefferson, Daniels, Neighbors, Thomas, Skeens, Cruz, Dunn, Reese, Sha'Carri Richards. It's just, there are celebrities that go to school at LSU. Part of it is because they play for the purple and gold. Not everything. They're really good. But you've just been elevated to a level that you just aren't getting. Who's the most famous Florida athlete of the last 5 years? They won a basketball national championship. Can you rattle off 3 of those players? It's just not quite as elevated. And there's a reason Nike's got 12 LSU football players. Because LSU is just, there's a reason Amazon came down here and did that documentary. There's a lot of athletes that have come through here and elevated their brand. That's a big deal, because the more you can get third-party entities to come spend money in Baton Rouge, the more pressure it takes off the donor base to keep cutting checks and keep cutting checks and keep cutting checks. And to this point, the donor base doesn't appear to be having any trouble cutting checks. But it's nice when Nike comes down and throws a few dollars around. And they feel like that's worthwhile. So that's the sound from Lane Kiffin over at Rotary Club on a Tuesday afternoon in it's Wednesday afternoon in Baton Rouge, I guess I should say. Today's Thursday, and we got 30 minutes left to go. Come back with us.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Fabry Chevrolet GMC, online at FabryChevrolet.com. That's FabryChevrolet.com. Still got a few days left to get by Fabry Chevrolet GMC on Highway 61 in St. Francisville and see what they've got for you. And it's great deals. Great deals. They've got absolutely incredible savings on Chevys, on GMCs. If you're looking for a new Denali, they've got awesome deals. You can get by before August 3rd and get employee pricing. They're offering 0% APR financing for 5 years on the 2026 Silverado 1500s, plus no monthly payments for 90 days. But you got to get by before August 3rd to see that. So check out the inventory. See it all there at FabryChevrolet.com. But also, run up Highway 61 to St. Francisville and see it for yourself. It's Fabry Chevrolet GMC. They're online at FabryChevrolet.com.
Bayou Ford is taking $13,000 off MSRP on the new 2026 Ford F-150 trucks.
Plus the complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
I'm Billy Schmidt, and I've been with First American Bank for 13 years. I have a passion of getting to know customers, getting to know their journeys, getting to know their stories, and being a small part of that, and just continuing that, and taking those relationships and expanding out into the community, just to make First American a household name. And people look at us and say, hey, what's special about you guys? You're part of a family.
At Parrish, we take pride in building roofs that last, because in Louisiana, toughness isn't just on the court, it's in your home too.
Parrish Construction and Roofing. ParrishBuilt.com.
At Parrish, we take pride in building roofs that last, because championships are built on commitment, not just on the floor or the court, but your home too.
Parrish Construction.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
The Highland Insurance Group's online at highlandig.com. That's highlandig.com. Jonathan Carbo and his team happy to help you out with property and casualty insurance. It is storm season. The time to look at your property policy is right now. And if you don't want to look at your property policy, because I don't, because it's not a lot of fun. I did it for 7 years. The Howard Insurance Group will do it. And they'll make sure your buildings are evaluated property. They'll make sure your deductibles in line with your risk tolerance. They'll make sure you're not set up to incur co-insurance penalties, which means you don't get paid out in full if you do have a claim. What's your business interruption limit? Do you make sure that you've got enough revenue coming in and the ability to pay expenses going out, even if you can't work? That's what insurance is for. And sometimes you cut corners for premiums, and then you don't know until after a supposed claim is supposed to be filed that you don't have coverage. Don't let that happen to you, because once that storm gets in the Gulf, you can't bind coverage. They'll put a moratorium on it. So contact the Howard Insurance Group if you're a business owner, and make sure that your property policy is in line with what your risk tolerance is. The Howard Insurance Group will do it. They've got a team of experts that is happy to help you out. It's the Howard Insurance Group. They're online at highlandig.com. All right, news from Saints camp today. I was just telling you in the last segment about the sick feeling I had when you saw Aiden Anding go down at LSU's spring football, because they didn't have a lot of depth at corner, and the Saints don't have a ton of depth at corner either. And Kool-Aid McKinstry went down today. But, and I did that but quickly so as not to make everybody panic, it appears, and Ross Jackson's reporting at LouisianaSports.net, that it is not serious. Kellen Moore said after practice today that, he just kind of tweaked his ankle a little bit, and Ross was able to confirm that via some sources inside the Saints organization. So, sure, he may miss a day or two. They're not in pads yet. He's been in the league a couple years. You're not talking about a guy that has to rush back to try to make a roster spot. He's your number one cornerback. So the Saints will be cautious. You need your cornerback's ankles to be feeling pretty good, but there is no indication that this is a significant injury for the Saints. You look at that depth chart at corner, Quincy Riley is the second corner opposite of Kool-Aid McKinstry. And then you got Martin Anderson, who you picked up from Cleveland, that I think was a nice signing. Is he going to make the Pro Bowl this year? I don't think so, but he's certainly a capable NFL player. And then you got names like TJ Hall. You got names like Isaac Yiadom, Rajon Wright, Dallas Beenum. Like, you don't have a lot of proven depth at the cornerback spot. That's why the Emerson signing was so vital, but more so, it's more vital for the starters to stay healthy. And it's just scary when you're this early in camp and you see your number one corner have to observe the end of practice. But it was okay. And you're talking about a guy in Kool-Aid that has been pretty durable over 2 years. As a rookie, 15 games played. He made 42 tackles. Then last year, kind of stepped forward and played 17 games, made 76 tackles, had 3 interceptions. He had 17 passes defense last year, which is really strong stuff. Was it perfect? No. There were games where Kool-Aid got picked on, no doubt. And that happens to a second-year player. That's a hard position to play. It's really hard. But the Saints have shown confidence in him to move on from some of their veteran players at the position, allow those guys to walk and sign elsewhere, understanding that he was the next guy up. And so now it's his time to be a stud. The plan is for Kool-Aid McKinstry and for Quincy Riley to be your two guys. That's the plan. And that changes your defense when you find the two guys that you trust to go play. It gives you a numbers advantage other places. If you feel inadequate on the corners and you've got to give help and you've got to shade coverages and you've got to move numbers, you become susceptible everywhere else on the field. It's a hard Band-Aid to put on when you've got a hole there. And my confidence level in Kool-Aid and Quincy Riley is not overly high. If I was on a scale of 1 to 10 right now, it'd be like a 5. But they're young enough where it would surprise me none if I up that to a 7 by Halloween. This is a big, big key to the Saints becoming a much better football team. Like, it starts with Shuck, no question. I think second's got to be the offensive line for me. I don't have as many questions on the offense beyond that. And then you go to that side of the ball, and it's like, okay, you got to fill in the Brazil hole. That now becomes question number 1 there. So that's probably the third biggest on the team. And corner's probably 4th for me. It's probably 4th on the list of, like, what do you need to make sure is right. And so it's after yesterday where you lose a starter for the year, when another one leaves practice, which is what happened, it's just natural to go and just hold your breath. But he's okay. He's all right. And so this is a foundational piece for this New Orleans team. When you draft guys that early, they got to come in, help early, which he did with 15 games as a rookie, merge as a starter in year 2, which he did, and then this is the year you become a 1. You become a 1. You look around your division, like you got to line up with Drake London. I don't know, Tampa doesn't have Mike Evans anymore, but they still got plenty of talent on the outside and a good quarterback. You've got to go out there and be a dude. And that's really the point of this segment, not necessarily that Kool-Aid McKinstry rolled his ankle in a drill on the second day of practice, because that stuff happens. But I wanted to get out in front of it and go, yeah, he's okay. And then second, be like, okay, it's time for him to show up. And look, if Quincy Riley can keep up with him, that's all the better. You're trying to cement checked boxes. And there aren't a lot of those with the Saints team. Like Olave is one, and Chase Young is one, and Eric McCoy is one. And I would put, David Edwards at one at left guard. The floor is really, really high there. Justin Reed is one. Caden Ellis is one. Like, you've got some that are like, okay, that's what this guy is. And at corner, you're not there yet. But this is a year where you need to get there so that you're building foundational pieces to become the team that you want to be. So Kool-Aid McKinstry is fine. He'll probably miss a day or 2, 3 days, whatever. They got a day off coming up. Probably give him time until the day off and then get him back out there when he's feeling 100%. But when you got a cornerback with a ginger ankle, there's no reason to put him out there changing directions full speed until he is ready to go. And I think the Saints are in a position where they can do that with him this early in camp. Were you nervous, Jordan, when he went out?
I was extremely nervous, but I got to be careful what I say now because my dad listens to the show. And he was like, he comes at me yesterday, said we're bad luck because, we spoke about Brazil's injury before it actually happened. We're like, somebody's going to go out, so I'm going to choose my words a little bit better this time. And, yeah, I'm very I was a little concerned about it, the way how Nick Underhill worded it at first, that it seemed like Kool-Aid was out. But it seems that, Hunt, we're at that point in time where every time that training camp is going on, that you just sit there and just hold your breath. You just hold your breath and just hope that something doesn't go wrong, because what can go wrong at this point will go wrong.
It's the difference in following an NFL training camp and a fall camp in college. In the NFL, the beat writers are out there the whole time. Every time somebody goes down, you know about it immediately.
And they'll get a video.
Yeah, and guys get hurt at LSU, I'm sure, all the time. We're not there. We don't know about it. Then if a tree falls in the woods, does it make a sound? Nobody's there?
Nobody's seen it.
I'm not there, so I don't know. But then you get the speculation of, like, last year, like, did Nussmeier tear his ACL?
Oh, my goodness.
Which actually, Nuss did get hurt, but it wasn't that injury. It was another injury that happened. But that was even worse. Had to check with some sources at the time to see what was going on there, and it wasn't as bad as we feared. But in the college world, you get did that happen? And then somebody posts on the internet, and you see like a cryptic tweet, somebody you never seen before, and it's like,
then it gets deleted.
And you got to check, so you got to check that. It's like, it's a different world. In the NFL, you just get all the info, good or bad. And today's info was seemingly bad, but it's all good. Kool-Aid McKinstry is just fine down there at Saints camp. So day 2 in the books down there in New Orleans. If you're looking for Saints content, you can always find it at Hunt on Saints, as well. Ross Jackson at LouisianaSports.net does an awesome job keeping up with the black and gold for free over there at LouisianaSports.net. Have a lot of Saints coverage today, a lot of LSU coverage as well with some Lane Kiffin talk, and then a little baseball as well. If you've missed any of that, you can catch it on demand wherever you find your sound. All we got left is Take It or Leave It. We'll do it next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Swing Easy Golf Club in Baton Rouge. SwingEasyGCBR.com. SwingEasyGCBR.com. Great place to work on your game. Scratch golfer, you can do it. Beginner, great spot to work on your game. Anywhere in between, Swing Easy Golf Club in Baton Rouge is an awesome spot. You get a private bay swing simulator. You can set it on the driving range. You can see what your shot looks like in the air. You can see the metrics from your carry distance to your club head speed to your ball speed, spin on the golf ball. Some of that's more important to the scratch golfer who understands it. Sometimes the beginner just wants to see if you hit it hard, and you can see that at Swing Easy Golf Club. You can hit drivers in there. You can hit wedges in there as well. And look, you can crank some tunes, watch some TV, and if you don't feel like hitting balls in the driving range anymore, turn on Pebble Beach. Play some holes there. It's always a great time over at Swing Easy, whether you're looking to have some fun playing golf or looking to work on your golf game. Become a member at Swing Easy Golf Club, Segan at Perkins, swingeasygcbr.com.
Who bears the standard? Who sets the bar? It's not those satisfied by low-hanging fruit or by taking it easy. Now the standard is set by the best of us, by those who work hard. Dig deeper. Give more. At Sunshine, we're proud to provide John Deere products that work hard for you, the standard bearers. Find the dealer nearest you at sunequip.com.
Are you ready for an internet experience that actually keeps up with you? Then you're ready to step into a new kind of reliability with Rev Fiber. When your internet works, the possibilities open up, and suddenly everything feels more connected, just the way it should be. Seamless enough to keep up with every swipe and every click, anywhere you are. So leave the buffering behind. 100% fiber, 0% runaround, where support is still personal. Rev Fiber. Visit revfiber.com.
I'm Lawyer Locke Meredith. We are honored and humbled to receive from our clients in Google, based on 5-star client reviews, the designation of our law firm is highly recommended. Whether you hire us at all, please give us a call, 272-5555. You have nothing to lose.
Hi, I'm Mitchell Meredith. Injuries happen when you least expect them to, making your life more complicated. At Locke Meredith Schoenfagen and Associates, we know this, and we strive to help each of our clients during these times. Whether you hire us at all, give us a call at 272-5555.
Raising Cane's Texas Toast is a thick slice of bread, garlic butter spread, grilled to golden perfection, and made to order just for you. Because when you make it right, you can taste it in every bite. Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers, one love.
At Parrish, we take pride in building roofs that last. Because in Louisiana, toughness isn't just on the court, it's in your home too.
Parrish Construction and Roofing. ParrishBuilt.com.
At Parrish, we take pride in building roofs that last, because championships are built on commitment, not just on the floor or the court, but your home too.
Parrish Construction and Roofing. ParrishBuilt.com.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our #1 product's always customer satisfaction. Come visit us at reliefwindows.com.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms.
I got an interesting mailbag question at LouisianaSports.net. Had a few that I answered this morning in the edition that's on the homepage there. They asked me a few different questions, but the one that stuck out to me was, who would you think would have a better career in Major League Baseball, Tommy White or Dylan Cruz? And it's interesting because Dylan has had a very bumpy start to his career. He played 2 pretty mediocre years, kind of really 1 full year when you consider he got called up later and then had an injury in year number 2. And he was down in the minor leagues this past year, and still this year, even though he's gotten hot lately, is posting a below average weighted runs created plus. He's a below average player in Major League Baseball at this point, and he's in his 3rd year in Major League Baseball. And Tommy White's been up for 2 weeks, so like it's a different sample size. And it's a good question because Tommy White's hitting like 312, which is really good. It's a tiny sample size, like 11 games, but he's hitting the ball really well, and he's always been a great hitter, and he's got power, and he hits the ball to all fields. And Cruz is the higher draft pick, and he was a better player at LSU, but I gave it a lot of thought. And ultimately, I'm still going to side with what I believe to be the more complete player in Cruz, who I think will have more longevity, and I think will figure it out and become a really good player. I trust Cruz's tools, and I think there's been some swing changes for Dylan that took a while to adapt to. The Nationals have kind of tweaked with what he was trying to do his whole life. And I think he's starting to figure some things out. He's driving the ball to the ballpark. In the last 5 games, he's got 2 homers and 2 doubles, and is swinging the bat at a pretty good clip. So I think both guys have got a chance to stick for a long time because they're such good hitters. I will take Cruz, but I'm not as confident as I would have been 3 years ago when they were both on LSU's team. I would have taken Cruz 1,000 out of 1,000. I've got a tweet, just so y'all know. I've got a tweet from Dylan Cruz's freshman year. Bookmarked. It's a tweet of mine that said he's going to hit 300 big league home runs. Now, that is very unlikely because 300 is a ton. So he's probably not going to get there. He's going to have to play like 15 years to do it. But I just still believe in Dylan Cruz. So I'm gonna go with Cruz. We'll see.
Well, I just know 300 home runs is a lot.
It's a lot.
That is a lot.
It's very unlikely.
I was like, Lord.
But I don't have to bring it back up. No one knows it exists.
Okay.
I have it bookmarked. And if I need to bring it up to look smart in
15
10 years from now, when Myers is like driving, I'll do it because I know it exists.
Just make sure, is it like hot takes exposed? No, that's cold takes exposed.
I don't think cold takes exposed is going to be hitting my tweets from 2021. I don't think.
Got to get somebody right that will tag them in it. They'll see it and, get it back on the timeline. Is that time of the day?
Yep.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
All right, so earlier this week, we've been all over this Baker Mayfield stuff. And today, he decided to go a little scorched earth, take the gloves off. So Baker Mayfield told reporters today that he feels disrespected and undervalued by the Tampa Bay, that they did not lock him up long-term before his training camp deadline. Mayfield tells ESPN the Bucs offered him a 2-year deal, which was probably the most disappointing part, he said. He wanted a long-term commitment. He added that the Bucs were pretty far away from the $50 million club, which Baker wants to enter. So is Baker Mayfield a $50 million quarterback? Take it or leave it.
I'll be honest, I don't know all the quarterback salaries off the top of my head.
I got you.
But I will tell you this. The fact that the Buccaneers front office even presented a 2-year contract to him is disrespectful. We can talk dollars and cents on the salary cap if you want to.
Yeah.
And that's the business part. A 2-year deal, that is offensive. That's offensive.
So to add a little bit of context, so the $50 million club is like your Sam Darnold's, Daniel Jones, Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson. So he wants to enter that club. So Baker right now is at around 45. So he wants to.
Sam Darnold played better than Baker Mayfield last year. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they won.
Won Super Bowls.
Obviously, they won the Super Bowl. But is Sam Darnold way better than Baker Mayfield?
We got to see. Though. We just have to see. I think he has a lot better weapons and a better team.
He's got an incredible
way better
defense.
team.
His
team is ridiculous. Better coach, way better coach.
Yeah, and so, I don't think that Sam Darnold is way better than Baker Mayfield. I think neither one of them in the class are the best quarterbacks in the NFL.
They're not Josh Allen,
And so, the thing that doesn't hang me up is the $50 million. The thing that hangs me up is the 2-year deal. That's ridiculous. Utterly ridiculous.
Especially because you would have thought that, they would have rewarded him a little bit.
I don't know what his age is.
I think Baker's
I'm looking it up right now.
He's a little old. I think he's going to come on 30. Yeah, 31. Quarterback.
Give him a 5-year deal. I mean, unless you just don't think he's a good quarterback and you're going to cut bait at the end of the year, which is going to piss him off and spiral this team out of control.
That's what that signals to me, is that they don't think he's that good.
Yeah, well.
All right, so Red Baron, the frozen pizza brand,
love Fred Barron,
is celebrating its 50-year anniversary with quite the surprise. They're creating a pizza with 50 different toppings.
Nope, terrible.
Pepperonis, onion, sausage, carrots, mushrooms, pineapples, etc. It's 50. I can't name all of them. So you can enter to win this pizza on the company website. So a 50-topping pizza, take it or leave it.
I couldn't leave it fast enough.
Leave it alone.
Could not leave it fast enough.
Can't leave it fast enough.
There's 5 things that can go on pizza.
Okay, let me hear that. What's your 5?
Pepperoni.
Yes.
Sausage.
Oh, you're a meat lovers guy.
Bacon. Spinach.
Okay.
Chicken.
Not an olives guy?
No.
Okay.
No olives, no onions, no peppers.
Okay.
No banana peppers, no...
Mushrooms. I hate mushrooms.
Mushrooms, absolutely
mushrooms.
not. Alyssa buys these frozen pizzas that we split that have a cauliflower crust, but they only make them in Supreme. So before we put them in the oven,
gotta scrape it
I have
off.
to take the frozen pizza and get a little knife and just pick all the crap off. So at the end, hers looks like a mountain of stuff, and mine just has pepperoni and sausage on it, which is way better.
No.
But no, I'm not doing any supreme pizzas. Disgusting.
Sounds like my life. As a person that when my parents would buy pizza and all that growing up as a kid, they're just going to buy what they want to eat. If you want some, scrape it off, man.
My college roommate, I told this story before. He used to order from one of the pizza places in town, and he would get just cheese and mushroom with extra mushroom.
What?
Not because he loved extra mushroom, but because he knew me and the other roommate hated mushrooms, so we weren't going to eat any of it.
Okay.
So he would get the whole pizza.
You know what?
That's the type of thing you got to do in college.
Yeah, I kind of respect the move right there.
I don't respect it at all.
It's a crazy order.
But let me just tell you, if he wanted to have leftover pizza in that fridge and we were coming home from the bar, that pizza was going to be gone.
Oh, yeah.
So your only hope was to go extra mushroom, because even if I've had 400 drinks, I'm not eating mushroom pizza. No shot.
Especially extra mushrooms. That's a
awful.
diabolical order. So Taysom Hill announced he will not be returning to the Saints, one of the Saints' all-time fan favorites. Taysom has 45 combined rushing and receiving touchdowns in his career. He will retire as one of the only 5 players in NFL history to score at least 10 touchdowns via rushing, receiving, and passing. So now that it's all said and done, it's over for Taysom Hill in New Orleans. Is it safe to say we will never see another Taysom Hill again in New Orleans? Take it or leave it.
Never's a long time.
It's a long time, man.
Never's a long time.
It's a long time for him to come around, too.
So I will say leave it.
Okay.
Because we've gotten to the era of basketball where everybody's playing every position, and baseball where guys are pitching and hitting.
Yeah.
And like we're being more versatile with what we're doing. And there are guys as athletic as Taysom Hill. I'm not suggesting it happens every year, but there are guys that are that athletic. So I think that you will see something like that again. Whether it happens in New Orleans anytime soon is a different story altogether. But Taysom Hill, that what I just said is not to disparage Taysom Hill's career at all. It was incredible.
Yeah.
His usefulness was fantastic. And if Sean Payton would have told me what the plan was for him when they drafted him, I said, that's the dumbest idea I ever heard.
Yeah.
You ever heard of Drew Brees? He's the quarterback. Let him play quarterback.
Literally.
And it worked. So Sean Payton, turns out, against all odds, better football guy than me.
All right, so that's it for Take It or Leave It.
That's it for our Thursday show, brought to you by Sagrera Farms Premium Angus Beef. If you missed any of the show, catch it on demand wherever you find your sound. Just search Hunt Palmer Show. You can like, subscribe, rate, review. Always appreciate that. Gets us in front of as many people as possible, especially this time of year with the football news rolling in. We talked to Lane Kiffin Sound. That's all there at Hunt on LSU. Talk some Saints in multiple segments, including our chat with Luke Johnson. That's all available at Hunt on Saints. All right, Matt's going to drive you home next on After Further Review. We're back tomorrow with the Friday edition of Hunt Palmer Show, talking LSU and Saints. Have a good Thursday.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Before I'm out of here, we're going to tell you about Fabry Chevrolet GMC. They are online at fabrychevrolet.com. That is fabrychevrolet.com. They got great deals, but you got to hurry if you're going to get them. GMC is offering employee pricing on the 2026 GMC Sierra 1500 Denali's, but now until August 3rd, that's creeping up. You can get $8,000 off those Denali's. Look, Chevy is offering 0% APR financing for 5 years on the 2026 Silverado 1500s, plus no monthly payments for 90 days. That's 3 months with no payments, but you got to do it before, you guessed it, August 3rd. Chevy's offering bonus cash on select new vehicles for firefighters, police officers, 911 dispatchers, EMT, paramedics. So if you are a first responder, you can get bonus cash from the folks over at Chevy. They're on Highway 61 in St. Francisville. If you'd like to see the inventory online first, it's fabrychevrolet.com. Search by the new vehicles, search by the pre-owned vehicles, but go see them and see that customer experience difference at Fabry Chevrolet GMC. Online at fabrychevrolet.com.
I've been in banking for over 35 years. I usually start about